There's a new way to grow your YouTube channel, and it's helping creators get hundreds of thousands of views on their first uploads. Like this channel that hit 1.4 million views on their first video, or this channel that hit 4 million views on their third upload. These channels have cracked the YouTube algorithm because they understand the recent changes that are blowing up small channels on the platform. So in this video, we're going to cover 4 ways you can tackle and beat the YouTube algorithm to fast track the growth of your channel to finally get the views your videos deserve. The advice today is not going to be about the small things such as posting on your community tab or commenting on other people's videos. That type of stuff will help you build and engage a community, but it's not going to significantly increase your views or your subscribers. Instead, today we're going to focus on 4 fundamental aspects of the YouTube algorithm that are proven to impact your videos. And then I'll guide you step by step on how you can apply each of these to your channel. We've also included a downloadable worksheet in the description that you can use during a critical part of this process that we'll cover in a lot more detail when we get there. And the first part of the YouTube algorithm puzzle is YouTube is a zero-sum game. Well, almost. It's hard to predict exactly what the YouTube algorithm does, but it does leave clues, like this passage from a study on how the YouTube algorithm works. Essentially, all of this means that you're not creating content within a vacuum. You're battling head to head with other channels in your niche for the audience's attention. It is a bit of a weird situation, I will admit, but on the YouTube platform, there is an infinite room for creators, but a finite supply of audiences to draw upon. And that may be difficult to accept, but it is the truth. And the creators that accept this fact are the ones that are winning. This is because the YouTube algorithm works on a ranking system. It uses a whole load of data such as click-through rate, watch time, likes, dislikes, comments, shares, and a whole bunch of other signals to determine viewer satisfaction. And that defines the video's value to the audience, which determines what the algorithm does. If your video ranks well against other videos, then the algorithm is going to favor your video. But I know what you're going to say next, and you might as well call this YouTube imposter syndrome. Competing against the big channels in your niche can feel really intimidating because you believe these big channels have got all of the unfair advantages that YouTube bestows on them. But I do have some good news. YouTube does not discriminate. Even if you're a small channel with less than 1,000 subscribers, you can compete with the biggest channels in your niche. For example, you've probably started to notice small channels appearing on the home feed of your YouTube page. This is because the algorithm is adapting to give small channels a chance to have their content seen by more people. Even YouTube's chief algorithm boffin, kind of made that title up, admits to all of this.
We have a team that is specifically focused on this challenge of trying to identify audiences for creators that are just getting started.
Put simply, if you put in the time and effort to make your videos better than your competitors, then you can see your content rise to the top even with a single video, which is exactly what happened to this channel. When the Market Whisperer posted this video, they were at the very bottom of the YouTube pile. 0 views, 0 subscribers. But in less than 6 months, this single video has hit 2 million views, which proves that even if you are literally the smallest channel on YouTube, you can compete with anybody on the platform. But all of this still leaves us with one big question. How do we actually beat the competition? And what specific parts of your video should you focus on? Well, after studying all of these fast-growing channels, I've noticed one common thing that they all focus on, and it's this: next level ideation. One of the best ways to beat the competition in your niche is to simply come up with better video ideas. And how successful channels do this is by recreating viral ideas from similar niches, which is exactly what this channel did. Justical found these videos on YouTube and they were massive outliers for the channels, meaning that they got far more views than typical for those creators. This tool is available on the VidIQ extension, by the way, so make sure to download it as soon as you can. And when you see these outlier videos, they are the perfect type of content to recreate. And so all Justical had to do was duplicate this viral video format. He did this by first finding an interesting story within his own niche. It was a story about the $19 Fortnite card guy. He then used the same viral title format from the original video and came up with this: $19 Fortnite card guy, the meme that ruined its creator. And then lastly, he took this viral title and paired it with a thumbnail format that was also proven to go viral. And you can guess what happened next. Another viral video. A 10x outlier that generated over 2.5 million views for the channel. This is why big creators focus so much on ideation. They have a power to create massive outliers for channels that help them grow at an exponential rate. But coming up with viral video ideas only addresses one part of a YouTube algorithm, which naturally brings us on to part 2. Making content for your core audience. Many new YouTubers don't understand this concept, or maybe it's fairer to say they're not even aware of it. But it is one of the fundamental reasons why their content isn't being picked by the YouTube algorithm. So let's break this all down so that you don't make the same mistake. At last count, there's more than 500 hours of YouTube videos being uploaded every single minute to the platform. So the algorithm can't manually review every single video and pick the right one for a certain viewer. So instead, it groups individual people into something called audience profiles. And these profiles are determined by people's behavior, watch history, search terms, how they engage with content. An example of a profile might be people who watch football documentaries or an audience of people who watch beauty tutorials. YouTube uses these profiles to know what to recommend to a user when they're on the platform. But here is where most creators get it wrong. YouTube's algorithm works best when a channel focuses on an audience profile. Put simply, it reduces audience friction because the algorithm knows who to recommend the videos to. But creators have multiple interests, hobbies and passions that they end up sharing everything they know and love on YouTube, which results in a channel making content for multiple audiences, and you end up with this weird, multifaceted, complex, layered Venn diagram that the algorithm's just going to raise a thinking emoji at. Let me give you 2 examples to make things more clear. This channel has nailed down their core audience profile. They make content for people who like village-style cooking videos. And that's clear to see after just looking at the channel for 5 seconds. They consistently repeat the same video format over and over again because they know it consistently satisfies their viewers. And this makes things very easy for the YouTube algorithm. It's almost as if a digital relationship is being built between the audience and the algorithm, and the video is the connective tissue. But now let's compare all of this to this channel. The same 5-second look on this channel makes you a little confused as to what type of content they're making. Yes, it's about cooking, but that's still quite a broad topic. There is no clear audience profile that this channel is actually targeting. One week they're making content about dried pasta, the next week it's birthday cakes. And this is going to make the algorithm think twice about which audience to send this content to. So how do you prevent this from happening and finding your core audience? Well, the first step is to identify your sub-niche. Instead of just stopping at a broad topic like cooking, go deeper. Focus on a very specific sub-niche that targets a specific audience profile. Examples could be vegan diets or budget-friendly meal preparation. And then the second step is to actually get to know your audience. Now you have a rough idea of your core audience, it's time to get to work on that worksheet I mentioned earlier, which is linked in the description below. This is going to be your audience profile Bible, and you need to answer the following questions. Who is your target audience, their typical age, gender, where they live in the world? And then, what pain points do they experience around the sub-niche that you cover? And let's take vegan desserts as an example. It could be things like trying to find the right ingredients in a regular supermarket, or the fact that vegan desserts tend to be typically more expensive, or they simply don't taste as nice as regular desserts. Next, you want to determine the outcomes that your core audience want from this sub-niche. This could be things like making fast and delicious vegan desserts, which at the same time aren't too expensive and actually help the audience lose weight. And then you want to broaden out the research a little bit by asking the audience profile, what other channels do they watch in this sub-niche? And, of course, what are the best performing videos on those channels? Now I assume this sub-niche should be something that you have a great interest, knowledge and passion for, so you shouldn't struggle to answer these questions, right? But if you do, you can use VidIQ's AI coach to help prompt some of those answers for you. And all of this is going to give you a much deeper understanding of who your core audience is. And ultimately, this is going to help you create videos your audience actually wants to watch, as well as making it incredibly easy for the YouTube algorithm to find the right audience audience profile. Every time you plan a new video, refer back to this audience profile Bible and ask yourself, does all of this align with my core audience profile? And will it provide value and resonate with my target viewers? Now, I do understand the tension between the creator and the audience. It is very tempting to create random videos that you're interested in to nourish your creative spirit. And by way of experimentation, and to allow yourself to be creatively free every once in a while, you can do that. But YouTube is designed in such a way that you, the creator, are answerable to your audience. Which means that typically, success, at least to begin with, lies in staying true to your niche. Once the YouTube algorithm is consistently finding the right viewers for your video, it leads naturally onto step 3. Maximizing watch time. Above all other things, the YouTube algorithm is interested in this: how videos satisfy viewers. And typically, when a viewer watches for longer, or watches the entire video all the way through, you would expect them to be generally satisfied. Now, it's not always the case. Sometimes you can get pulled into YouTube rabbit holes and feel thoroughly unsatisfied at the end of it. This might be conspiracy theory topics or misleading information. You may watch something for hours, get completely fed up, and then not return to YouTube for a couple of weeks. That's really bad for the algorithm. But for our sake, let's say that maximizing watch time does satisfy viewers. Now, obviously, the way to boost watch time is to focus on audience retention, and I highly recommend you do that. But today, I want to introduce something new to you. It's a technique big creators use, and you might not have heard of it. It's called the binge loop. This is a 3-part formula that makes your viewers watch one video, and then another, and then another, and then another on your channel. It only takes a few extra minutes during the script writing process, but should have a positive and noticeable impact on the overall watch time on your channel. One creator who's extremely effective at this is Ali Abdaal. In this example, he's using a simple 3-sentence formula to tie in the next video he wants you to watch as a viewer.
Now, this is super interesting. It's the first time in my life where we've had a dip in profitability, a massive spike in costs, and I've made a video over there where I talk about like all of these failures in entrepreneurship, like all the ways that I failed this year to get to a point where we're actually less profitable this year than we were last year. So if you're interested, you can check out that video over there.
It's smooth, almost unnoticeable, but extremely effective. So let's break this down into each part so that you can apply this to your own videos. The first part is the link. These are 1 or 2 sentences that create a natural and logical link between 2 videos. In this example, Ali's next video is about his failures in 2022.
Now, this is super interesting. It's the first time in my life where we've had a dip in profitability, a massive spike in costs.
So he links back to a failure moment in his current video to create a smooth transition. The second part is to tease the next video. Pick the most exciting part of the next video and tease it in 1 or 2 sentences. It creates a sense of intrigue and anticipation, encouraging the viewer to click. Ali does this by teasing the failures he's faced in his entrepreneurship.
I've made a video over there where I talk about like all of these failures in entrepreneurship, like all the ways that I failed this year to get to a point where we're actually less profitable this year than we were last year.
And lastly, we have the all-important call to action. This is 1 simple sentence, an instruction to the viewer to actually click on the video.
So if you're interested, you can check out that video over there.
Now, of course, from a channel-wide perspective, this does require a little bit of planning. You need to have some idea of what videos you've made in the past and some idea of what videos you're going to make in the future. That's going to make it a lot easier to connect all of these videos. But the binge loop method is a powerful way of making the algorithm happy, because it keeps viewers watching your videos and staying on the platform for longer. It's called session watch time. But there is one last part of the algorithm, and it might just be the most important one of them all. And I'm gonna call it the golden vein. As we talked about earlier, the algorithm is looking for content that satisfies the viewers most. And so naturally, when a video performs well on your channel, it's clear the viewer was satisfied by it. But here is where many creators go in the wrong direction. Instead of taking the format of this great performing video and repeating it, they do something completely different. In short, creators worry far too much about making what might be perceived as the same video. And that can be a recipe for slow growth. What smart creators do is find a format that works with their audience and then recreate that format over and over again. And this is why I call it the golden vein. They're constantly mining at something that's very valuable to their audience and profitable for the channel. There is a high likelihood that the biggest creators on YouTube that you admire have followed this exact technique on their channels. They likely experiment experimented with different types of video formats in the beginning, but when they found their viral moment, they went all in on that format. And a perfect example of this is Ryan Trahan. We need to go back 7 years to see what type of videos Ryan was creating then. And there was a certain randomness to them, a running video here, trying on thrift clothes over here. But then, in 2019, something interesting happened. He tested this style of video. Up until this point, Ryan's videos didn't follow a strict type of format. He would make videos about bad commercials and then a road trip with his girlfriend. But after he had this hit video, everything changed in that it kind of stayed the same. He stopped randomly making videos and went all in on this challenge style format. And the more he posted, the more they went viral. Ryan had found his golden vein, and the rest now is YouTube history. He is, without question, one of the biggest and the most loved YouTubers on the planet. But enough about Ryan. How do you find your golden vein for your channel? Well, it all starts with research. You want to pick 5 to 10 channels that are in a similar niche to you. Next, on those channels, sort the videos by most popular and try to identify patterns in which formats are reoccurring on the channel that perform well. Next, start testing all of these formats on your channel to see which resonate best with your audience, as we discussed in part 1. The second step is to commit to one of these formats when it works. When you do have an outlier video on your channel that performs 5 or 10 times better than usual, that's a clear indication to try and recreate this viral moment. And I agree, you may need to fight your creative instincts, but you want to test the instincts of the YouTube algorithm. And if these repeatable videos turn into outlier content, then you found your golden vein. And that allows you to do 2 things. It becomes a reliable format you can use with your audience, and you can also improve on the format. The creativity can come from the perfection of what you're making. And obviously, you don't stop at one golden vein. You repeat this whole process again to find new formats. You might call this your silver vein and your bronze vein. A simple ratio might be for every 2 videos you make on your tried and tested format, you make 1 experimental video. Again, do the research on your biggest creators and you'll likely find that they have more than 1 successful format. But like I said all the way back at the beginning, the YouTube algorithm isn't always easy to predict. You could try recreating these viral formats and still not have any luck. But what if I told you there was someone on the inside? Someone with a deeper and more intimate understanding of how your videos perform on YouTube. Yeah, you saw a glimpse of him in this video, but you'll discover a lot more from him over here.